All right, there you are. There you are, darling. There I am. It's the game, bro. All right, I see myself. Oh, wow. Y'all are seeing all the boobies. Oh, hello. Zai. Hi, Zai. You got the boobies up in there. You got the bows. Bow, wow, wow. Oh my gosh, friends. I need to tell you all something that happened to me today. I must tell you all. Would you believe that I've been driving for over 20 years? And today, I got my first speeding ticket or citation. I'm not quite sure. I was so scared. I was like, oh no. They asked me, do you know the speed you were going? And I was like, I don't. Congratulations. Brock, is she okay? No, don't worry about staying. Is she okay? Did the surgery go okay? I hope she's fine. I'm so sorry. We will miss you, but please don't worry. Take care of your niece. You are such an awesome uncle. Well done, you. Take care of your niece. Don't worry about us at all. If anything, we will miss you. But please, you're fine. See you later, Brock. We'll be thinking of you. Zai said it's a rite of passage. I can't with all of you. My teen was in the car, friends. I was freaking out. I was like, what? What is going on? Like, for real. Anyway, I should probably send this to the usual suspects and we can get started. Donna, I hope Dana is okay too. There's a few people having some health challenges recently, honestly. And they... excuse me. I think some of them have had like medical... Fight the ticket. Say you were following the flow of the traffic. Darian, hey. Exercising. Oh, ectopic pregnancy complications. Oh, that's tough. Yes, please. Yeah, that is scary. We'll be thinking of you, Brock. And your sister. Hey, Melina. Welcome, darling. How are you? Okay, since y'all are here early, you get to pick. Are we doing boss lady today or rich auntie? Rich auntie or boss lady? You tell me. Is it a rich auntie night or boss lady night? What say you? Ooh. Boss lady, okay. Back says boss lady. Let me see which one is... Okay. Here we go. Oh, Darian also says boss lady. Okay. Is Jane gonna be a boss lady for us today? We shall see. So yeah, this is the story all about how my life turned whatever upside down. I was driving my kid to the allergist store. I was driving my kid for an allergy shot when I got pulled over for my first speeding ticket. Hey, dun dun dun. Oh, mm, 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 mm. Now that I know how to take it off, I'm going to apply it liberally. Every time I want to feel like I'm here, I'm like, well, let's get some red on. Hey, royalty of the past. Welcome in. Okay, that was Boss Lady. I love these. Is it moisturizing? I think so, but it's almost like a stain, so it stays on, which is what I want. It doesn't move. It doesn't really, I mean, unless you apply too much of it, it'll get on your teeth, but it doesn't, and it just, I need the red. I need the red. Let's kick it up a notch. Did I move my red earrings? I did. I was gonna put on red earrings, but I can't find them, so here we are. Okay, it's 10:35. There are 5 people in here. Welcome, loves. So happy to have you. Let's get started soon. There's 2 people on the tube. If you feel like there are some lovely people, you did it, royalty. Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna ask. If you feel like there's some people who need to be here and join the mess. Okay, last night was crazy. Last night we didn't mean to, but we ended up staying till like 2 a.m. and we were talking about all the things. We got a lot of spicy book recs, and it was a lot. It was a lot. But if you're new here, welcome. My name is Denise. We've been doing this for almost a year now, friends. We've been reading classic books online. I'm training to be a narrator. I would love to read audiobooks and do various voiceover work, but here I get to read classic books to all you lovely folks, and we go wild, we go crazy. And Thursdays are even more special. Why? Because at the end, oh, I'm so happy. Royalty. Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. Welcome. Thank you. We have way too much fun. I stayed up entirely too late yesterday. I know. I started the Give Me More book last night. I fell asleep to it, of course. I said it for like 10 minutes and I fell asleep, but holy moly. Yes. Well, royalty, welcome. Pull up a seat, grab a drink. I'm about to get started because on Thursdays we go a little longer and we add a little bit of silliness at the end. It's called Nisi After Dark. Probably need to get a different name. But we use AI for its true purpose. Well, I'm so happy you're here, and I'm so happy you found me again. We use AI for its true purpose, to write spicy romantic stories about someone enjoying food. That's what Thursday nights are for. So I'm drinking, I put ice in here and it's not melted, so I'm leaning into it. I have some diluted orange juice in here and I have some water. What are y'all drinking? Throw it up in the chat. Let's see. I like it, learning all the different drinks that people like drinking to stay hydrated. And then we're going to get started with chapter 30 of Jane Eyre. If you're not in my fan club yet on TikTok, please don't waste a second. Don't waste a minute. Make me feel good. I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. Make me feel good. Join my fan club. Yes, thank you. Hey, book babe. Water with lemon. Nice. Ooh, peach tea. I like it. Water with lemon, solid. Peach tea, solid. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Yeah. And the song that was playing in my car when I got pulled over and got the ticket is now playing in my head on repeat. So thank you, Taeyong of NCT. You got me. You got me a speeding ticket. Anyway, let's do this, darlings. Can y'all hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up? Sound is okay? Something. Can you let me know? We got the bounce. Bow wow wow. Thank you, darling. Let me check. Thank you, Vex. Thank you. I can't even find my Twitch window. I'm a hot mess over here. I'm a mess. I'm a loser. I'm a hater. I'm a user. I'm a no for your love, baby. Do. That was what? What's that lovely lady's name? Forgotten. Her voice is. She has a really lovely voice. Does anyone know her name? I forgot her name. She was on one of my favorite songs, but now I can't remember. I've got a flash goal. I've got a flash goal. What's a flash goal? Well, we need 3 gifters to send heart me's to my live in the next 15 minutes. Well, gifters. If you're here and you feel like you have a gift to give tonight, need 3 lovely people to send me a flash goal. But let's get started. I need to find this lady. What's her name? Pushback Neo featuring Baby Rexa. Yeah, BB Rexa. Okay. All right. Let's do it. I know, Bex. Oh, so rude. I'm so sorry. How dare they? Just bad timing. Bad timing overall. Alrighty. I think I am ready. Deep breaths. Oh, deep breaths. I need to figure out a way to stand up. Hey, Diane. Welcome. Oh my God. Yeah, I need a little. I need a little massage up in here. Lord. Oh. I need to get a tennis ball or something and do the rolling against a wall. Get that out of the way. Okay. Let me find the page we're on. Here we go. Every night. Oh! Yeah. Grab your drinks. Grab your snuggle bunnies. Grab your blankets. Grab your crafts. Share the live with 2 or 3 people you think might enjoy this vibe and this book. And let us read chapter 30 of Jane Eyre by Charlotte Brontë. Hey, Patricia! And by the way, if you are a subscriber, we are a little over 75% of the way through the book. So please check out the link in my bio to my link tree. There's a Google form there for subscribers to submit their recommendations for our next book. It's time for us to pick our next book. Yes. Hey, thank you for the follow. All right, Patricia. Hi. Chapter 30. The more I knew of the inmates of Moor House, the better I liked them. In a few days, I had so far recovered my health that I could sit up all day and walk out sometimes. I could join with Diana and Mary in all their occupations, converse with them as much as they wished, and aid them when and where they would allow me. There was a reviving pleasure in this intercourse, of a kind now tasted by me for the first time. The pleasure arising from perfect congeniality of taste, sentiments, and principles. I liked to read what they liked to read. What they enjoyed delighted me. What they approved, I reverenced. They loved their sequestered home. I, too, in the grey, small, antique structure, with its low roof, its latticed casements, its mouldering walls, its avenue of aged firs, all grown aslant under the stress of mountain winds, its garden, dark with yew and holly, and where no flowers but of the hardiest species would bloom, found a charm both potent and permanent. They clung to the purple moors behind and around their dwelling, to the hollow vale into which the pebbly bridle path leading from their gate descended, and which wound between fern banks first, and then amongst a few of the wildest little pasture fields that ever bordered a wilderness of heath, or gave sustenance to a flock of grey moorland sheep with their little mossy-faced lambs. They clung to the scene, I say, with a perfect enthusiasm of attachment. I could comprehend the feeling and share both its strength and truth. I saw the fascination of the locality. I felt the consecration of its loneliness. My eye feasted on the outline of swell and sweep, on the wild colouring communicated to ridge and dell by moss, by heath bell, by flower-sprinkled turf, by brilliant bracken, and mellow granite crag. These details were just to me what they were to them, so many pure and sweet sources of pleasure. The strong blast and the soft breeze, the rough and the halcyon day, the hours of sunrise and sunset, the moonlight and the clouded night, developed for me in these regions the same attraction as for them, wound round my faculties the same spell that entranced theirs. Indoors we agreed equally well. They were both more accomplished and better read than I was, but with eagerness I followed in the path of knowledge they had trodden before me. I devoured the books they lent me. Then it was full satisfaction to discuss with them in the evening what I had perused during the day. Thought fitted thought. Opinion met opinion. We coincided, in short, perfectly. If in our trio there was a superior and a leader, it was Diana. Physically, she far excelled me. She was handsome. She was vigorous. In her animal spirits there was an affluence of life and certainty of flow, such as excited my wonder, while it baffled my comprehension. I could talk a while when the evening commenced, but the first gush of vivacity and fluency gone, I was fain to sit on a stool at Diana's feet, to rest my head on her knee and listen alternately to her and Mary, while they sounded thoroughly the topic on which I had but touched. Diana offered to teach me German. I liked to learn of her. I saw the part of instructress pleased and suited her. That of scholar pleased and suited me no less. Our natures dovetailed. Mutual affection of the strongest kind was the result. They discovered I could draw. Their pencils and color boxes were immediately at my service. My skill, greater in this one point than theirs, surprised and charmed them. Mary would sit and watch me by the hour together. Then she would take lessons, and a docile, intelligent, assiduous pupil she made. Thus occupied and mutually entertained, days passed like hours, and weeks like days. As to Mr. St. John, the intimacy which had arisen so naturally and rapidly between me and his sisters did not extend to him. One reason of the distance yet observed between us was that he was comparatively seldom at home. A large proportion of his time appeared devoted to visiting the sick and poor among the scattered population of his parish. No weather seemed to hinder him in these pastoral excursions. Rain or fair, he would, when his hours of morning study were over, take his hat and, followed by his father's old pointer, Carlo, go out on his mission of love or duty. I scarcely know in which light he regarded it. Sometimes, when the day was very unfavorable, his sisters would expostulate. He would then say, with a peculiar smile, more solemn than cheerful, "And if I let a gust of wind or a sprinkling of rain turn me aside from these easy tasks, what preparation would such sloth be for the future I propose to myself?" Diana and Mary's general answer to this question was a sigh, and some minutes of apparently mournful meditation. But besides his frequent absences, there was another barrier to friendship with him. He seemed of a reserved and abstracted and even of a brooding nature, zealous in his ministerial labors, blameless in his life and habits. He yet did not appear to enjoy that mental serenity, that inward content which should be the reward of every sincere Christian and practical philanthropist. Often, of an evening, when he had sat at the window, his desk and papers before him, he would cease reading or writing, rest his chin on his hand, and deliver himself up to I know not what course of thought, but that it was perturbed and exciting might be seen in the frequent flash and changeful dilation of his eye. I think, moreover, that nature was not to him that treasury of delight it was to his sisters. He expressed once, and but once in my hearing, a strong sense of the rugged charm of the hills, and an inborn affection for the dark roof and hoary walls he called his home. But there was more of gloom than pleasure in the tone and words in which the sentiment was manifested, and never did he seem to roam the moors for the sake of their soothing silence, never seek out or dwell upon the thousand peaceful delights they could yield. Incommunicative as he was, some time elapsed before I had an opportunity of gauging his mind. I first got an idea of its caliber when I heard him preach in his own church at Morton. I wish I could describe that sermon, but it is past my power. I cannot even render faithfully the effect it produced on me. It began calm, and indeed, as far as delivery and pitch of voice went, it was calm to the end. An earnestly felt yet strictly restrained zeal breathed soon in the distinct accents and prompted the nervous language. This grew to force, compressed, condensed, controlled. The heart was thrilled, the mind astonished. By the power of the preacher, neither was softened. Throughout there was a strange bitterness, an absence of consolatory gentleness. Stern allusions to Calvinistic doctrines, election, predestination, reprobation, were frequent, and each reference to these points sounded like a sentence pronounced for doom. When he had done, instead of feeling better, calmer, more enlightened by his discourse, I experienced an inexpressible sadness, for it seemed to me, I know not whether equally so to others, that the eloquence to which I had been listening had sprung from a depth where lay turbid dregs of disappointment, where moved troubling impulses of insatiate yearnings and disquieting aspirations. I was sure St. John Rivers, pure-lived, conscientious, zealous as he was, had not yet found that peace of God which passeth all understanding. He had no more found it, I thought, than had I with my concealed and racking regrets for my broken idol and lost Elysium. Regrets to which I have latterly avoided referring, but which possessed me and tyrannized over me ruthlessly. Meantime, a month was gone. Diana and Mary were soon to leave Moor House and return to the far different life and scene which awaited them. Hi, Tracy. Hi, Bambi. Diana and Mary were soon to leave Moor House and return to the far different life and scene which awaited them as governesses in a large, fashionable south of England city, where each held a situation in families by whose wealthy and haughty members they were regarded only as humble dependents, and who neither knew nor sought out their innate excellences, and appreciated only their acquired accomplishments as they appreciated the skill of their cook or the taste of their waiting woman. Mr. St. John had said nothing to me yet about the employment he had promised to obtain for me. Yet it became urgent. Hi, Leslie. Yet it became urgent that I should have a vocation of some kind. One morning, being left alone with him a few minutes in the parlor, I ventured to approach the window recess, which his table, chair, and desk consecrated as a kind of study. And I was going to speak, though not very well knowing in what words to frame my inquiry, when he saved me the trouble by being the first to commence a dialogue. Looking up as I drew near, "You have a question to ask of me?" he said. "Yes. I wish to know whether you have heard of any service I can offer myself to undertake." "I found or devised something for you 3 weeks ago, but as you seemed both useful and happy here, as my sisters had evidently become attached to you, and your society gave them unusual pleasure, I deemed it inexpedient to break in on your mutual comfort till their approaching departure from Marsh End should render yours necessary." "And they will go in 3 days now?" I said. "Yes, and when they go, I shall return to the parsonage at Morton. Hannah will accompany me, and this old house will be shut up." I waited a few moments, expecting he would go on with the subject first broached, but he seemed to have entered another train of reflection. His look denoted abstraction from me and my business. I was obliged to recall him to a theme which was of necessity one of close and anxious interest to me. "What is the employment you had in view, Mr. Rivers? I hope this delay will not have increased the difficulty of securing it." "Oh, no, since it is an employment which depends only on me to give, and you to accept." He again paused. There seemed a reluctance to continue. I grew impatient. A restless movement or two, and an eager and exacting glance fastened on his face, conveyed the feeling to him as effectually as words could have done, and with less trouble. "Oh, you need be in no hurry to hear," he said. "Let me frankly tell you, I have nothing eligible or profitable to suggest. Before I explain, recall, if you please, my notice, clearly given, that if I helped you, it must be as the blind man would help the lame, I am poor, for I find that when I have paid my father's debts, all the patrimony remaining to me will be this crumbling grange, the row of scathed firs behind, and the patch of moorish soil with the yew trees and holly bushes in front. I am obscure. Rivers is an old name, but of the three sole descendants of the race, two earn the dependence crust among strangers, and the third considers himself an alien from his native country, not only for life, but in death. Yes, and deems, and is bound to deem, himself honored by the lot, and aspires but after the day when the cross of separation from fleshly ties shall be laid on his shoulders, and when the head of that church militant, of whose humblest members he is one, shall give the word, "Rise, follow me." St. John said these words as he pronounced his sermons, with a quiet, deep voice, with an unflushed cheek, and a coruscating radiance of glance. He resumed, "And since I am myself poor and obscure, I can offer you but a service of poverty and obscurity. You may even think it degrading, for I see now your habits have been what the world calls refined. Your tastes lean to the ideal, and your society has at least been amongst the educated. But I consider that no service degrades which can better our race. I hold that the more arid and unreclaimed the soil where the Christian labourer's task of tillage is appointed him, the scantier the meed his toil brings, the higher the honour. His, under such circumstances, is the destiny of the pioneer, and the first pioneers of the gospel were the apostles. Their captain was Jesus, the Redeemer himself." "Well," I said, as he again paused, "proceed." He looked at me before he proceeded. Indeed, he seemed leisurely to read my face, as if its features and lines were characters on a page. The conclusions drawn from this scrutiny he partially expressed in his succeeding observations. "I believe you will accept the post I offer you," said he, "and hold it for a while. Not permanently, though, any more than I could permanently keep the narrow and narrowing, the tranquil, hidden office of English country incumbent. For in your nature is an alloy as detrimental to repose as that in mine, though of a different kind." "Do explain," I urged when he halted once more. "I will, and you shall hear how poor the proposal is, how trivial, how cramping. I shall not stay long at Morton now that my father is dead, and that I am my own master. I shall leave the place probably in the course of a 12-month, but while I do stay, I will exert myself to the utmost for its improvement, prevent her having time to discharge in person. Will you be this mistress?" "Oh, let's go, Jane." Mm-mm-mm. He put the question rather hurriedly. He seemed half to expect an indignant, or at least a disdainful rejection of the offer. Not knowing all my thoughts and feelings, though guessing some, he could not tell in what light the lot would appear to me. In truth, it was humble, but then it was sheltered, and I wanted a safe asylum. It was plodding, but then, compared with that of a governess in a rich house, it was independent. And the fear of servitude with strangers entered my soul like iron. It was not ignoble, not unworthy, not mentally degrading. I made my decision. I thank you for the proposal, Mr. Rivers, and I accept it with all my heart. But you comprehend me, he said. It is a village school. Your scholars will be only poor girls, cottagers' children at the best, farmers' daughters. Knitting, sewing, tastes. He again looked at me. Tastes. He again looked at me. He shook his head. What do you disapprove of, Mr. Rivers? I asked. You will not stay at Morton long. No, no. Why? What is your reason for saying so? I read it in your eye. It is not of that description which promises the maintenance of an even tenor in life. I am not ambitious. He started at the word ambitious. He repeated, No. What made you think of ambition? Who is ambitious? I know I am. But how did you find it out? I was speaking of myself. Well, if you are not ambitious, you are. He paused. What? I was going to say impassioned, but perhaps you would have misunderstood the word and been displeased. I mean that human affections and sympathies have a most powerful hold on you. I am sure you cannot long be content to pass your leisure in solitude, and to devote your working hours to a monotonous labor wholly void of stimulus, any more than I can be content, he added with emphasis, to live here buried in morass, pent in with mountains. My nature that God gave me, contravened, my faculties, heaven bestowed, paralyzed, made useless. You hear now how I contradict myself. I, who preached contentment with a humble lot, and justified the vocation even of hewers of wood and drawers of water in God's service. I, his ordained minister, almost rave in my restlessness. Well, propensities and principles must be reconciled by some means. He left the room. In this brief hour, I had learned more of him than in the whole previous month. Yet still he puzzled me. Diana and Mary Rivers became more sad and silent as the day approached for leaving their brother and their home. They both tried to appear as usual, but the sorrow they had to struggle against was one that could not be entirely conquered or concealed. Diana intimated that this would be a different parting from any they had ever yet known. It would probably, as far as St. John was concerned, be a parting for years. It might be a parting for life. He will sacrifice all to his long-framed resolves, she said, natural affection and feelings more potent still. St. John looks quiet, Jane, but he hides a fever in his vitals. You would think him gentle, yet in some things he is inexorable as death. Oh my God, I always stumble on that word. You would think him gentle, yet in some things he is told you. Inexorable. Rewind selector. You would think him gentle, yet in some things he is inexorable as death. And though reading a letter, he entered. Our Uncle John is dead, said he. Both the sisters seemed struck, not shocked or appalled. The tidings appeared in their eyes rather momentous than afflicting. "Dead?" repeated Diana. "Yes." She riveted a searching gaze on her brother's face. "And what then?" she demanded in a low voice. "What then? Die?" he replied, maintaining a marble immobility of feature. "What then? Why, nothing. Read." He threw the letter into her lap. She glanced over it and handed it to Mary. Mary perused it in silence and returned it to her brother. All three looked at each other, and all three smiled. A dreary, pensive smile enough. "Amen. We can yet live," said Diana at last. "At any rate, it makes us no worse off than we were before," remarked Mary. "Only it forces rather strongly on the mind the picture of what might have been," said Mr. Rivers, "and contrasts it somewhat too vividly with what is." He folded the letter, locked it in his desk, and again went out. For some minutes no one spoke. Diana then turned to me. "Jane, you will wonder at us and our mysteries," she said, "and think us hard-hearted beings not to be more moved at the death of so near a relation as an uncle. But we have never seen him or known him. He was my mother's brother. My father and he quarreled long ago. It was by his advice that my father risked most of his property in the speculation that ruined him. Mutual recrimination passed between them. They parted in anger and were never reconciled. My uncle engaged afterwards in more prosperous undertakings. It appears he realized a fortune of £20,000. He was never married and had no near kindred but ourselves and one other person not more closely related than we. Nana Jen, perfect timing. I'm gonna have to take a time out right here. Okay. Is this Uncle John Jane's uncle in the islands? Just tell me now. Are these Jane's cousins? Hey, Zai. Somebody tell me. Nana Jen, we've been doing this for like a year now. How could you still be doing this to me? I think it is. And okay, Tracy. Okay. Oh my God. Oh. Okay, fine. This part of the story is nice. Okay, fine. But you will all notice that the story picked up and Rochester disappeared. Okay, I'll stop. No more slander. No more Rochester slander. For now. My father always cherished the idea that he would atone for his error by leaving his possessions to us. That letter informs us that he has bequeathed every penny to the other relation, with the exception of 30 guineas to be divided between St. John, Diana, and Mary Rivers for the purchase of 3 mourning rings. He had a right, of course, to do as he pleased, and yet a momentary damp is cast on the spirits by the receipt of such news. Mary and I would have esteemed ourselves rich with £1,000 each, and to St. John's such a sum would have been valuable for the good it would have enabled him to do. This explanation given, the subject was dropped, and no further reference made to it by either Mr. Rivers or his sisters. The next day I left Marsh End for Morton. The day after, Diana and Mary quitted it for distant shores. In a week, Mr. Rivers and Hannah repaired to the parsonage, and so the old Grange was abandoned. And that was chapter 30 of Jane Eyre. I'm guessing y'all want us to go straight to 31, huh? Yeah, 31. If you want us to go to 31, please. Okay, now I'm gonna be like one of the live hosts. If you can tap and get me to 10,000 likes, I will read chapter 31. Tap. That's something. Anyway, let's read chapter 31. I don't have the patience to wait till then. 30. Didn't I do that last night for being able to go to sleep? I sure did, didn't I? That backfired. That was because of you, Patricia, you and Bex, and Pixie. No, it wasn't Pixie. Was it Pixie? No, Darian. Darian. We were very bad last night. We were very, very bad. Tracy, you missed last night. Anyway. Chapter 31 of Jane Eyre. My home, then, when I at last find a home, is a cottage. Oh, yes, and Leslie, too. Leslie was here. It is all Patricia's fault. Chapter 31. Oh, my God. Y'all know, we're almost hitting 10K. I love you guys. Thank you for putting up with my silliness. I love it. Let's do it, my loves. I would have done it anyway. Y'all know I'm easy. I'm so sweet on all y'all. Chapter 31. My home, then, when I at last find a home, is a cottage. A little room with whitewashed walls and a sanded floor, containing 4 painted chairs and a table, a clock, a cupboard with 2 or 3 plates and dishes, and a set of tea things in delf. Above, a chamber of the same dimensions as the kitchen, with a deal bedstead and chest of drawers, small, yet too large to be filled with my scanty wardrobe, though the kindness of my gentle and generous friends has increased that by a modest stock of such things as are necessary. Mateus! How are you doing? I'm seeing so many friends. Hi. It is evening. I have dismissed, with the fee of an orange, the little orphan who serves me as a handmaid. I am sitting alone on the hearth. This morning the village school opened. I had 20 scholars, but 3 of the number can read, none write or cipher. Several knit, and a few sew a little. At present, they and I have a difficulty in understanding each other's language. Some of them are unmannered, rough, intractable, as well as ignorant, but others are docile, have a wish to learn, and evince a disposition that pleases me. I must not forget that these coarsely clad little peasants are of flesh and blood as good as the science of gentlest genealogy, and that the germs of native excellence, refinement, intelligence, kind feeling are as likely to exist in their hearts as in those of the best born. My duty will be to develop these germs. Surely I shall find some happiness in discharging that office. Much enjoyment I do not expect in the life opening before me, yet it will, doubtless, if I regulate my mind and exert my powers as I ought, yield me enough to live on from day to day. Was I very gleeful, settled, content during the hours No. I felt desolate to a degree. I felt, yes, idiot that I am, I felt degraded. I doubted I had taken a step which sank instead of raising me in the scale of social existence. I was weakly dismayed at the ignorance, the poverty, the coarseness of all I heard and saw around me. But let me not hate and despise myself too much for these feelings. I know them to be wrong. That is a great step gained. I shall strive to overcome them. Tomorrow, I trust, I shall get the better of them partially, and in a few weeks, perhaps they will be quite subdued. In a few months, it is possible the happiness of seeing progress and a change for the better in my scholars may substitute gratification for disgust. Meantime, let me ask myself one question. Which is better? To have surrendered to temptation, listened to passion, made no painful effort, no struggle, but to have sunk down in the silken snare, fallen asleep on the flowers covering it, wakened in a southern clime amongst the luxuries of a pleasure villa, to have been now living in France, Mr. Rochester's mistress, delirious with his love half my time. For he would, oh yes, he would have loved me well for a while. He did love me. No one will ever love me so again. I shall never more know the sweet homage given to beauty, youth, and grace, for never to anyone else shall I seem to possess these charms. He was fond and proud of me. It is what no man besides will ever be. Stay. And at the quiet fields before my cottage, which, with the school, was distant half a mile from the village, the birds were singing their last strains. The air was mild, the dew was balm. While I looked, I thought myself happy, and was surprised to find myself ere long weeping. And why? For the doom which had reft me from adhesion to my master. For him I was no more to see. For the desperate grief and fatal fury, consequences of my departure, which might now, perhaps, be dragging him from the path of right, too far to leave hope of ultimate restoration thither. At this thought, I turned my face aside from the lovely sky of Eve and lonely vale of Morton. I say lonely, for in that bend of it visible to me, there was no building apparent save the church and the parsonage, half hid in trees, and, quite at the extremity, the roof of Vale Hall, where the rich Mr. Oliver and his daughter lived. I hid my eyes and leaned my head against the stone frame of my door. But soon a slight noise near the wicket which shut in my tiny garden from the meadow beyond, it made me look up. A dog, old Carlo, Mr. Revis's pointer, as I saw in a moment. Excuse me. Ooh. I got the burps, friends. Ooh. Should have taken some Tums. A dog, old Carlo, Mr. Rivers's pointer, as I saw in a moment, was pushing the gate with his nose, and St. John himself leaned upon it with folded arms, his brow knit, his gaze, grave almost to displeasure, fixed on me. I asked him to come in. No, I cannot stay. I have only brought you a little parcel my sisters left for you. I think it contains a color box, pencils, and paper. Thank you. I approached to take it. A welcome gift it was. He examined my face, I thought, with austerity as I came near. The traces of tears were doubtless very visible upon it. Have you found your first day's work harder than you expected? He asked. Oh, no. On the contrary, I think in time I shall get on with my scholars very well. But perhaps your accommodations, your cottage, your furniture have disappointed your expectations? They are, in truth, scanty enough, but I interrupted. My cottage is clean and weatherproof, my furniture sufficient and commodious. All I see has made me thankful, not despondent. I am not absolutely such a fool and sensualist as to regret the absence of a carpet, a sofa, and a silver plate. Besides, 5 weeks ago I had nothing. I was an outcast, a beggar, a vagrant. Now I have acquaintance, a home, a business. I wonder at the goodness of God, the generosity of my friends, the bounty of my lot. I do not repine. Hey, Blue. But you feel solitude and oppression? The little house there behind you is dark and empty. I have hardly had time yet to enjoy a sense of tranquility, much less to grow impatient under one of loneliness. Very well. I hope you feel the content you express. At any rate, your good sense will tell you that it is too soon yet to yield to the vacillating fears of Lot's wife. What you had left before I saw you, of course I do not know, but I counsel you to resist firmly every temptation which would incline you to look back. Pursue your present career steadily, for some months at least. It is what I mean to do, I answered. St. John continued. It is hard work to control the workings of inclination and turn the bent of nature, but that it may be done, I know from experience. God has given us, in a measure, the power to make our own fate, and when our energies seem to demand a sustenance they cannot get, when our will strains inanition, inanition. No, I got it. I have I have